All
Man,
right, all right, all right.
I love the intro, man. I love the intro. Now in session. It's official, man. That's official. I might come in here in some robes one day.
Well, yeah, that's the least you can do. Come on, bro. And of course, if something ever happens, you got to call Welt and Rheaume, baby. They will take care of you. That's for
I
damn
say,
sure.
hey, if I ever leave my house and get in trouble, that's exactly who I'm gonna call.
That's it.
It would
That's
mean I have to leave the house though. I don't really do that, man.
right. Yeah, no, we know that you are a homebody. There's no doubt about that. No doubt.
Damn, man. How else you think I got to season 6 of The Sopranos in like a month, man? That's
By the way, is it what I told you that it started to take a little bit of a dive in season five? Like a little, like
uh
as good. Let's just put it that way.
yeah, like I feel like I'm glad that they're cutting it. I'm glad that this is the last season, although this one's like what 20, 21 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm glad that they're cutting it because there's just only so many storylines. We can tell ultimately it's all the same thing, right? Like it's done really well. Don't let me disparage The Sopranos here. It's done really well, but ultimately it's one side wants power, the other side has power. They clash, then Tony wins. One side wants power, they clash, Tony wins. Once
Right.
it's like the same. It's the same general story, just different. Okay, it's New Yorkers this time. Okay, it's Junior. It's Corrado this time, and it's you know what I mean. But I've enjoyed it so far. Like I'm appreciating the story. I love the shift. And sorry if I'm spoiling this. So somebody in the comments, if you are yet to watch The Sopranos and don't want me to spoil it,
Good.
please speak now or forever forever hold your peace. I love the transition of Tony becoming a little better husband to Carmela because like for a hot second they were portraying Carmela looked like she was in the same light as like Skylar White, where like people hated Skylar because like they were going through marital issues and she wasn't the main character. She wasn't the main character, so she was seen as an antagonist. When in reality, she's a normal. She's a normal person. I think Carmela is a little less innocent than that, but like I don't think she is worth any sort of hate. She was just like, "Yo, stop cheating on me and lying."
Yeah. Well, the person I couldn't stand was Tony's sister. She was a pain in the ass.
I couldn't stand the sis. I can't stand the mother. Well, couldn't stand the mother. Um,
Sister was a waste.
Anthony Jr. is when Mela told him you are a burden for this entire family to carry. It's wrong. It's a horrible thing to hear from your mother, but damn, you really are. Like, make one good decision. I'm 100 episodes in. He hasn't made one good decision yet.
Waste.
So,
Total waste. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, man, I'm enjoying that. Should wrap that up in the
Yeah.
next month or so. Like I said, 20 episodes.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Sopranos is just absolutely awesome. I enjoyed the hell out of that series. All right. So I talked about this leading into our segment
Mm.
because obviously this kind of went viral with the UFC fight. And 1 year in, the guy that was looked at as kind of geeky, kind of nerdy, and you were just actually touching a little bit on that when a parent tells you that you're a waste and all that. You really can't be that kind of parent nowadays. Okay. You know, teachers, I remember teachers that used to say to students, you're never going to amount to anything. You know, I don't think you can really be that kind of a teacher nowadays. So, the Don Shula coaches and the Bill Belichick coaches and those kind of coaches are dying also. Those kind of CEOs are dying. Those kind of general managers are dying in all aspects of life. A year later, do you think Mike McDaniel has not just changed the opinion of people, but the way they perceive a coach to be?
Yeah, like I know this was brought up a lot during his first season. Mike's not necessarily like the first players coach. You know what I mean? He's not the first coach to not be all doom and gloom, but I think that he's unique. I don't want to call him the first anything, but he is the first Mike McDaniel. You know what I mean? He's uniquely weird. He is himself. I thought the energy would have run out by November or December. You know what I mean? Like I thought, okay, we saw the grassroots campaign, like we saw all these things start to come out about it, like that he's this fun guy. We see all the jokes in the press conferences, but like when he has to do them 3 times a week instead of once a week, maybe as a coordinator, Like, he's got to stop somewhere, right? Like, there's no way he could do this all year. There was not a single press conference. I went to all but maybe 2 or 3 of them. There wasn't a single press conference where he didn't bring that same kind of energy. Even in the somber press conferences, the ones after the Cincinnati game, I think where that was where we saw him at his most, like I said, somber. Like he would still crack a joke, but like it was a dry joke. It wasn't like a outward gesture type deal. It was just some bit of sarcasm. Maybe that's his way of coping. That's his process. But it was impressive to see that energy last for an entire season. And I think it resonates with players like I was touching on last time I was on this show. Guys nowadays, it's no longer about the what, it's the why. Why do I want to do this for you? Not just because you're my coach, but because I know you care about me, because I know you have my best interest at heart, not just the best interest of your paycheck. You know, you're not just coaching me because you want a good team to keep your job. You're coaching me because you believe in me as a player. You want me to be the best I can be. It's why he gets so much out of his guys, and that's why he's able to flip the switch when need be. That's why he didn't lose the locker room after a 5-game losing streak, after you theoretically went all in to win that season. So it's I think again it's been a masterclass in how to manage a team. Obviously, I want to keep seeing the longevity of it from an objective standpoint. I want to see the longevity of it. There's a lot of egos, a lot of dollar signs in this locker room right now. I think a 9-8 season again is going to rub some people the wrong way.
Oh yeah, no, he's got to do better.
Yeah. Like I'm interested in seeing the transition and seeing the improvement. But last year was, I think, an excellent start just from a locker room standpoint.
All he's got to do is stay healthier. That's all. And they'll win more than 9 games. To me, that season was about a lot of injuries that affected that team because, without Tua, you're a completely different team. And so if you keep Tua, erect for 17 games, this team's going to win a lot more than 9. I'm a true believer of that. To me, the biggest downfall of this season was all the freaking injuries. And to our initial point here of this conversation, to respond the way they did against Buffalo in the playoffs just shows you how much that guy is respected in that locker room in Mike McDaniel. And you know how special Mike McDaniel is? He gets your ass out of the house to go cover him. So there you go. How about that?
Gets me to do my job. That's hard to do. There are some times, during the losing streak with Flores, where I was like, all right, man, let me grab my mask. Let me go all the way out to Miami Gardens. Let me make sure I got my gum because I'm going to be smelling my breath for the next 4 hours. Just to have this man coach speak to us. No, you learn something every time you go speak with Mike, and I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that from a media perspective.
Yeah. I'm definitely. I mean, you guys get to cover a human being now.
I'll tell you this too, because it's
cool not to cover a machine and cover a human being that hurts, that feels, that appreciates. All these kind of emotions actually come out of him in press conferences, and it's to cover that guy. And I've covered him before, not just Flores, other ones that are just these machines. They're,
and it's not even like a shot at Flores' personality, like him as a person. It's that we never knew that person. Like we never got to know that person because you never let us in. I'm not saying I'm intimate friends with Mike McDaniel, but like I saw him like 4 or 5 times in Indianapolis. We had just regular conversations, goofy conversations, like no nerves, like it was just it was easy. And I can appreciate that. Like we're not the enemy, man. Like I don't wake up every morning and think like, how can I burn the Miami Dolphins? Like I'm not like Pinky in the freaking brain over here. Like what's our plan today? Take down the Dolphins organization. Like that's not how it goes, man. But like the harder you make my job, like the less the less that we're gonna take into account how you feel. You know what I mean? Like the more difficult you are to work with, then the harder it is to have your back when the time comes. So like It's I don't want to say a game, but like it's a respect thing. And I think that McDaniel has shown us respect since he got here in February, since his opening press conference in February, and we returned to the media workroom to find like ice cream sundaes of his favorite flavors of ice cream waiting for us and a note on every single one of them. So like it's little things like that, man, where it's like, wow, that I can appreciate you. And I'll tell you another thing about him from Indianapolis. I'm sure the guys who are on this show after Indy have said, but he might be the most popular person in the NFL. He might be the most popular damn person in the NFL because every conversation I had with him, I almost had to wait my turn or just like wait because, have little breaks in between because he had so many people congregate to him and just say hi, just to say this, just to say that, just to hang on to his every word. Like it is wild how the man has enough energy to go about his day other than the fact that this is really who he is. You know what I mean? Like there's just no way you can survive of that much of giving that much of yourself unless that's truly who you are.
Sean, can you pull up the picture of Tua with his teammate last season? There is Tua talking to his teammate. Look at him. Look at that body. Here's Tua this weekend after looks like he's hitting the weights. Thicker neck. The lower part, he was already kind of thick in the bottom. He kind of had big legs. But what stood out to me was his neck. Go back to the other, and you kind of look at his upper body too. Look at his upper body and his neck there, and then you look at the new picture, and Tua is definitely working out that body to make sure he is better prepared for the NFL season and to take some hits.
Yeah, like you said, he's always been bottom heavy as respectfully as possible. The guy's had tree trunks for legs ever since I've seen him 2 years ago. Again, I think it's just a matter of feel, of feeling, hey, this is when I can go down. This is when I can extend. This is when I can, try to break free of a tackle, or this is when maybe I just need to fall down and live to see another day. You know what I mean? Like it's as much feel as it is physical preparation because Cam Newton is maybe the most physically imposing quarterback we have ever seen in the NFL, and Cam Newton's body fell apart. So like it doesn't really matter. Like it matters, but it's not the end all be all. Being this rock of physicality because you can get knocked out too.
He was a battering ram, Cam Newton, and he can. And by the way, luckily for him, the Lord gave him the kind of body that he was able to be a battering ram for a while because most quarterbacks can never do what Cam Newton did. Never, ever, ever do it. As big as Josh Allen is, he cannot do the way Cam played his game that he was
I have seen Josh Allen get knocked out cold. Like that was what I didn't bring it up during when Bills fans were going crazy over Tua this past year because it just felt like a really gross thing to try to throw back at somebody. But like I saw Josh Allen get literally knocked out cold my first year covering the Bills. It was the scariest thing I had ever seen on an NFL field until this past year, the Bengals game. He took a hit right to the helmet and he did not move. Like it can happen to anybody. That is ultimately the point. Josh Allen, 6'5", 250 pounds, got knocked out cold by a safety. It can happen to anybody, no matter the body type, no matter the preparation, the strength. That's why it's up here. Like it's almost a double entendre. It's up here. It's up here. It's a feel. It is knowing when to advance the ball, when to take a hit, when to go down. That's part of the skill of being a good NFL quarterback is knowing how to avoid that kind of contact.
One of those wicked, like dirty shots because he has that Shaq LeBron disease that when you're too big for the sport at times, referees like tend to allow like you to take bigger shots because you're so big and strong or Derrick Henry, if you're one of those kind of athletes, no matter what sport it is, you'll notice that the referees will call you a little different than everybody else. Like Shaq will get hammered and he'll still lay it up, but they won't call the foul because he's so much stronger than everybody. The referee thinks he's got an advantage. Cam had that for a little while too, where Cam took some unnecessary dirty shots from defenders while he
Ref
was
told him.
They would not call a dirty shot. It would not call a penalty. And why? Because he's such a freakish athlete that they didn't treat big hits on him the same way a hit would go to Drew Brees or Tom Brady or somebody, smaller than him. It's really weird when there's really big freakish athletes, the referees tend to swallow the whistle a lot more for those kind of people, and they end up taking more of a beating.
I think a ref actually told Cam Newton, like literally told Cam Newton, like, you're not a big enough star to get that call, or you haven't been around long enough to get that call, or something like that. Like, he was
ignorant.
The league did not like Cam Newton. We could have an entire session about this, because I had, when I was a reporter in Lake Havasu, Arizona, I had an entire column about why the league doesn't like Cam Newton. They didn't like Cam Newton because he wasn't he wasn't a clean-cut quarterback. If he was starting his career today, I think Cam Newton would be a lot more accepted than when he entered the league 12 years ago. Because 12 years ago, it was shirt and tie, yes, sir, no, sir. Yeah, we tried absolutely hard, and like, it was boring, and he wasn't boring. He was himself. He's dancing after every touchdown. The league they didn't like that. That's not what they want the face of the franchise to be, and so therefore he wasn't protected by the league. Like, he wasn't protected by any rules, and he wasn't protected by his damn team. They did such a poor job of roster construction around him, man. I still follow some Panthers accounts, right? One blog said, name 4 wide receivers in Panthers history that were better than Ted Ginn Jr. And I had to Steve Smith, Musa Muhammad, DJ Moore.
Good. Well, now DJ Moore, yeah, okay.
And then I think the 4th spot's up for grabs. How insane is that? How insane that there are only 3 clear-cut, top of your head, don't even have to think about it, receivers in franchise history better than Ted Ginn Jr.
Yeah, if he would have stayed healthy, Patrick Jeffers would have been that guy.
You don't even not know just that. I don't even know what you're talking about. So sure, if you say so. But I think
Patrick Jeffers suffered a knee injury. And he was a good receiver. He was coming off one hell of a season. I'm looking up his stats right now. Okay, check this out. I'm gonna just read it off really quick.
It's almost unfair if you think about it. It's almost unfair to list.
Listen to this. Drafted by Denver, barely played for them. Then went to Dallas, had 330 yards on 18 receptions. Then went to Carolina, had 63 receptions, 1,082 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Then blows his knee and never comes back again. Comes back the next year, but was just not the guy, unfortunately. But he was starting to break out for them. That might have been the guy that could have been better than Ted Ginn. And he's still not better than Ted Ginn, by the way.
And in all reality, though, I think the fair question would be and that's just franchise wide. Name 4 receivers better than Ted Ginn. For Cam, name 4 better than Ted Ginn from the Cam Newton era. So Musa Muhammad is out the question.
Yeah, and
he got a couple years of Steve Smith, and he got a year or 2 of DJ Moore.
Yeah,
but they didn't draft O-linemen in the first round. They're drafting guys like they're drafting. I can't even tell you.
Well, they had one tackle that was pretty good.
I think they signed Khalil.
Ryan Khalil.
Yeah, they signed both of them. Actually, they had both Khalils, and Ryan Khalil was great. He was great at center, leader in that locker room. Matt Khalil couldn't stay healthy.
Ryan Khalil's technique was impeccable, bro. One of the best I've ever seen. Really good technician, bro, as a player. But yeah, no, it's in the end. you can't be a battering ram too in that position, and he was a battering ram, which is something that we've never seen from a quarterback, unless we're talking about the 1940s and the 50s when you're running the wing T and shit, where you have no choice but to be, because that's all they were in those days. But what Cam did was so freakish and really not smart, because you got to learn to win from the pocket. You know what I mean? But he put his body out there. And this league, brother, will break you in half no matter who you are. And Tua's got to. I'm sure he understands what he's got to do now.
Yeah,
And
ironically, Cam did play like Tua. In 2018, it was like a uptick where you're like, oh shit, hold on a second, he's really accurate passing when he has a quick short passing scheme where guys can separate, and he's not throwing to Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess. He's throwing to Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, where it's like, oh shit, hold on, he can actually play. He can play ball. But then TJ Watt hit his shoulder and it was over from there. But either way, yeah, Tua staying healthy, it's going to be, I think the most we'll see from his development will be come OTA training camp, whenever they're allowed to, start running plays on the field. So when he gets a feel for like, okay, this play is breaking down, let me get down, let me practice, either falling or sliding or running out of bounds or throwing it away, instead of, how training camp gets, they don't call sacks, so the called sacks are a little looser than an actual game. So like he might be technically down, but they're going to continue to play, and he's going to fling a 60-yard ball downfield, even though he was sacked 3 seconds ago. I'm curious to see like if they ask him, hey, here, don't extend these plays, just go down, or like treat it like a real rep where you are accepting the inevitability of a failed play. That's what I'm looking for come July. Obviously, got a few months until that happens.
Was it a desperation move by the Ravens to sign Odell Beckham?
$15 million guaranteed. $15 million guaranteed.
Ridiculous, but
like, okay, if this was, so his first 3 years in the league was 14, 15, and 16, right? And he had like 1,300, 1,400 yards every season, double-digit touchdowns every season. If he tore up his knee after that, and we're talking 2018, so there was just that one gap year in between, then I'd understand 15 million for Odell. I'd understand. But like he was just like a barely cracking 1,000 yards, I think, in 2 seasons with the Browns. He hasn't been healthy ever since. I just don't. I'm not saying he can't be a good receiver. I'm saying, what the hell are you doing paying him 15 mil when you got a quarterback without a contract right now? Like when you've got a quarterback to take care of right now.
Did Lamar want him? What is there?
That's
something?
what I kind of like. I saw this comment and I agree with it. Like it was kind of it put my thoughts into words in a way that I'm like, okay, I can co-sign this. They said it's like a Clippers situation where Kawhi would not go to the Clippers until he wouldn't re-sign to the Clippers until they agreed to trade for Paul George, or they said like, we're going to trade for Paul George. So they they sign Odell, and now Lamar's like, okay, I can see that you are serious about giving me real receivers. Because even in his current state, I think Odell is the best receiver that the Ravens have had since Lamar was drafted.
Yeah.
Hollywood was okay, but Hollywood too many drops, too many missed games.
Yeah, he's okay.
Rashad Bateman, very fast, very good after the catch. Dolphins saw that last year.
I actually like the Duvernay kid more than Bateman. Duvernay was doing really well for them. Duvernay at one stretch was their MVP.
I like Duvernay. Again, doesn't stay healthy. Even Boykin was okay for like his rookie season and then has fallen off a cliff. So there's no, for an organization that's kind of like, that's seen a lot of success over the past decade, they don't draft receivers well.
Yeah, Andrews is the only elite guy he has as a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Only. That's it.
Damn, he is elite, man. He is in Kelsey Kittle territory, right
behind those guys. I put him right in front of Darren Waller. We had that conversation last week. We were trying to the whole Darren Waller situation that Miami could have traded for Darren Waller and all of that. And I was thinking, well, Darren's probably top.
That's fair.
Mentioned Mark Andrews, and I was like, yeah, I put Andrews ahead of Darren Waller, actually.
Yeah, yeah, and I neck and neck with Kittle because I think they both have some injury concerns. I think Kittle's a better after the catch.
Well, and he's a much better blocker too.
Yeah,
Kittle,
yeah, I think he's
a dominant, not a blocker.
He's probably right behind. He's probably right behind Kittle.
He blocks like Gronk and Mark Bavaro, some of the guys that I've seen in this league that are elite receivers and could also handle a D lineman. Like Kittle can handle a D lineman, bro. Like I've seen Gronk throw D linemen to the ground. That I haven't seen, but he can get him off, man, and make sure he gets nowhere near the quarterback. I'm impressed with Kittle's blocking, bro. His blocking is top.
Yeah, I think he's been banged up past few years, but he's still probably the number 2 tight end in the NFL right now.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, my brother. Appreciate you. What do you got going on ESPN so folks can check you out this week?
We're actually headed to I'm headed to my barber right after this to make sure I'm okay, and then headed to Tua's Foundation Luau tonight. And it's the first time that we get to talk to him since Christmas.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have an update on how he looks, how he's doing there. I can tell you just how fit I guess he looks, just how much muscle mass he's put on. Haven't seen him in person again since Christmas Day.
A lot of progress. Do you remember how he looked like when he got here? Sean, show Marcel what Tua looked like when he first got here. I mean, look, fresh off the hip injury and everything.
All right. Those legs aren't big enough, man.
So I'm telling
Respect him.
Atrophy was setting in and everything on the poor guy. I mean, Jesus Christ. He's worked his ass off, bro. I mean, it's impressive. All right, Marcel, much love. We'll catch up on Thursday.
Definitely, man. Take it easy.
You got it. There you go. Marcel Louis Jacques. Follow him on Twitter, by the way, at Marcel_LJ. And he is set now. It's Monday, Thursdays, okay? Because last week we were a little off. He did a Wednesday and a Friday, but he had kind of like a vacation in the middle of it all, and so we accommodated. But normally it'll be Mondays and Thursdays now at 12:30 for Marcel Louis Jacques and our Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins report.
This is the Big O Show.